If you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. So I've talked about this idiot Spirit Juice before. Him and Coogie were one of the people that, you know, they used to try to edit my posts and get me, you know, banned from various sites because they would say that the tech I was posting was fake and not real. And then once they could finally do it, they would then post the tech as for themselves to try to take credit. And so here's a great post actually admitting that. You know, we've already exposed that Hono guy who apparently hates me, you know, now, but we've showed posts of him admitting that I was one before. So let's look at that Spirit Juice guy actually right here. So hopefully it's recording, having some problems here. Oh, there are rare occasions in which someone may be banned, removed from the site because of their gameplay related info. Skipping ahead a sentence, another such example would be Clayton Final Showdown. While FS was one of the early members of the Guilty Gear community and greatly helped the community get on its feet in terms of gameplay information, his information eventually became empty information. In other words, he would make posts about useless or secret glitches that were impractical, but tried to pass them off as legitimate or game-breaking strategies. He would also reference to them in posts but never explain them in detail because he was too lazy to explain it to anyone that had not previously seen a previous post of his buried in the bowels of Dustloop somewhere. Eventually it reached a boiling point in which all of his posts were like that, so we removed him from the site. So this is great because not only does this guy in this post admit what I've said before, and I've showed pictures, that we've showed pictures of me after I would win tournaments. I would sit down with people after doing radiation, wondering how long I'm going to be alive. I would teach everybody how the games work. Thank you for admitting these posts are real, that I've posted before, these videos, right? He also admits that, as I've said before, people forget just how much general knowledge in video games, fighting game wise, is actually from me, from simple to complicated. Thank you for admitting it. But it's funny here because he also admits what I've said before. People used to think that the stuff I was doing in Guilty Gear was fake or they were glitches. You know, people say Clayton named it the impossible combo. Actually, it was idiots like Spirit Juice who were saying like, oh, it's fake, blah, blah. This stuff Clayton is doing with Kai, it's not real. These are glitches. Remember I talked about even these big crazy soul combos I was doing? Oh, Grand Viper skip combos, they're fake, they're not real. Everything that I used to do, these guys, if they couldn't do it, they would try to say that it's a useless or secret glitch that is impractical, not real, it's not legitimate, which we all know nowadays. Look at the community. Now the community is obsessed with trying to do the stuff that I used to do. You know what I mean? Of course, now a lot of times they do it with macros and button binding, which is ridiculous, but isn't that crazy that this is from 2010, which is a long fucking time ago, but we've showed pictures as far back as 2001 of me being the person explaining how these video games worked. Isn't that crazy? Like I said, dude, these are the guys that used to try to get me banned from everything because if they couldn't do it, they would say it's a useless or secret glitch, it's impractical. But then once they could do it, they would post it as their own. Isn't that crazy? You know, that's pretty fucked up, isn't it? So, you know, more proof of the stuff I've talked about, you know. We also have here this Jaius guy. This Jaius guy, I see this guy post a lot. I haven't talked about this guy before because, I don't know, this guy likes to post my videos but say, don't listen to anything I'm talking about. Put it on mute. And somebody was joking, maybe he just likes your voice, which, I don't know, I guess that could be true. I do have a lot of people tell me they like my voice, actually. But I actually just think it's the same thing. You know, hear people like, oh, just like in Dragon Ball, don't listen to Clayton. He's telling you fake shit. You know, I don't listen to Clayton's videos because he's going to lie, even though no one's ever showed me lying about anything. It's these guys that are liars. But this Jaius guy, I was like, and the person that I was talking to about this, I'm like, isn't Jaius that Bridget guy that I used to beat in tournaments? And the guy was like, yeah, that's him. And I'm like, dude, I used to always think that this guy was gay because he was always so fucking friendly to me. But maybe it was one of those things that, you know, I was beating all these guys in tournaments as a sick kid. So I don't know if he, you know, oh, when you're winning, people are nice to you, right? And I just thought he was gay. And like, this guy's like, oh no, he's not gay. He's like a fucking tool and he speaks with a lisp. So I didn't say it. Someone else, he's like, oh no, he just speaks with a lisp and he's a fucking tool. And I'm like, well, yeah, he's definitely a fucking tool. But anyway, That guy's an idiot. He used to just be some scrub guy back in the day that I used to beat in tournaments, but it just goes to show, I was actually thinking, the Guilty Gear community is especially bad at it. Like, they only play one game. Do you know what I mean? It's very rare to meet someone that can even play one game well, but, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of these Guilty Gear guys, they only play Guilty Gear. Do you know what I mean? They only play this game. It's pretty rare to meet, like, I feel like an American Guilty Gear person who actually likes to play other games. You know what I mean? Like, I told the story before. The nerd community, and you can look at it when I talk about the history of an anime game and why Guilty Gear turned out the way it did, because these nerds, they felt like, Guilty Gear is so much better than Street Fighter. It's so much better than all these other games. Guilty Gear is our game. And then these like really fucking basement goblin nerds realize that, being a nerd, thinking that you found a game that you like, it didn't matter, because once people actually started playing that knew how to play video games, these guys got destroyed, right? I don't know if this guy's considered a good player now. Who knows? Maybe he could beat me now. The guy's had 20 years to practice. You know what I mean? Who fucking knows, dude? I don't know. Another fucking crazy dude, man. Dude's mad I beat him in video games years and years ago still. I always feel like, if I ever play again, you can, like, it's like guaranteed that if anyone ever actually beat me in one of these games now, they would go so crazy that they beat the evil Clayton. They've been practicing for 20 years. Clayton doesn't play anymore, but I finally beat him. Just like what I showed in Karna's Revenge, dude. Haven't played the game in years. These guys couldn't fucking beat me for 4 months straight once I started playing. So get him banned. And we'll show one more thing, which I thought was funny, is the Purified Weird Soul. Do you remember I called this guy the single white... What did I call this guy when I was talking shit about him? Single white female, early male pattern baldness, this guy. This was the same guy who... no proof that Clayton ever won all these tournaments. And that Steve H was the guy who was winning. Who, we proved before, Steve H actually inadvertently admitted that I was the guy that was winning all these tournaments. But you can actually go back and look at all these posts from this guy. I found a post back as far as 2006 that he remembers Clayton. You know what I mean? Not going to search all this guy's posts, but I saw this guy back as far as 2006. He sure fucking remembers me in 2006 when I was winning all these tournaments. But now he doesn't remember me. Isn't that crazy? I'm just telling you, dude. And these guys, they have some kind of post-traumatic stress disorder that I fucking beat them. That a sick kid was the one that was actually winning all these tournaments. It was not them. And even after I quit video games, no one has ever done what I have done in video games tech-wise. It's crazy. I don't have the post right now. I got to go save it and make a video about it. I saw another guy trying to say that Clayton has another guy still trying to say that Clayton has an anti-transgender fucking Twitter. And it's like, where? You mean because I called people out who lie about me and they happen to be transgender? Like, are you fucking kidding me? It's funny. I'll say one more funny thing too, because I got a message about this recently. I was talking to this Japanese girl recently, and she's asking, like, why don't you have a girlfriend right now? And we're just talking, and she's like, oh God, you're not LGBTQ, are you? And I was like, if you're asking if I'm gay, no, I'm not gay. And she was like, oh my God, thank God you are not part of the rainbow cult. And I was just laughing. And this conversation was actually in Japanese too. And I always just think it's funny. It's like Americans only live in their own echo chamber. And I just feel like, again, I've said this before, it's so popular to be a nerd. And you have no idea when you go to these other countries, oh, it's so amazing to be a nerd now. Go to Japan. Japan thinks a lot of you guys are fucking acting crazy now too. I thought it was funny. She's like, I hope you're not part of the fucking rainbow cult. And I was like, what? And she's like, the LGBTQ. She's like, are you gay? And I was like, no, dude. And she's like, thank God. Or, she said, oh, yokata. I was just like, man, I was just kind of like smirking to myself, something like, man, nerds have no idea like what a American thing this is, by like how crazy people are about this nowadays, right? But I guess that makes me I'm anti-transgender apparently because I said that, even though I'm friends with one of the most famous transgender people on the internet. And if she's fucking watching this video, you said you were going to be on the channel if you get to come to America. Like I said, she's like, I don't believe anyone actually thinks they're non-binary. She's like, that's an internet thing. I think it's fake. She's like, that's just people acting like a clown. Me and all my other friends, we make fun of them. And I'm like, people do think they're non-binary in America now. And she's like, no, that's fake. I don't believe you. That's just an internet joke. And I'm like, okay. It's like, if you come to America, you got to guarantee that you're going to come on my channel finally. And she's like, okay, I will come on your channel if I meet anyone in real life in America who says they're non-binary. And I'm like, okay, dude, deal. I think she's fucking lying, but, you know, I'm holding her to it. So anyway, the end.